Hey YouTube, I want to talk to you about some other archery equipment and a release or a trigger. A lot of people refer to them as. So how does this work anyway? Well, um, the way it works is basically you have a mechanism that you attach to a bowstring. Here's one of my favorites. Here's a true ball release. I don't know, well, that's going to show up for you. True ball. I think this is a true ball stinger. And the way this works is you open this up, these draws then wrap around your bowstring, you draw back at some point, then you keep squeezing through and it sets off your bow. So there's minimal contact, it's only that amount of contact with your bowstring, making it much more accurate. So what I wanted to do is go through what are the different types real quick today and what you should look for when you buy one. For hunting, lots of people use these kind of archery releases, and this one just simply goes around your wrist, and you'll get a hole worn out. That's the right one, and fits in your hand like so. Okay, so here you have it. And the way this works is that you clip it onto your string like I showed you, and I'll show you that in a second. And when you draw back, you get to your anchor point, and then you touch it off. Okay, you don't punch it. You start to squeeze and continue to draw, aim through the shot, and it goes off. This is a buckle, leather band with buckle on it. There's other ways of doing it. I prefer the buckle because one thing that's critical about these sorts of these releases that wrap around your wrist is you got to get them the same tightness every time. Otherwise, they'll be in different positions on your wrist, and that affects your anchor point. And that's something you don't want to do because it will definitely screw up your accuracy big time. So I'll give you an example of that. Here is another true ball rest that I bought that doesn't have a buckle. It's got a Velcro system, so you put it on like so. You Velcro it like that. It goes through again and then around. Now there's a couple problems. Listen, I don't know if you can hear that. I hate Velcro. Velcro sucks. It wears out, and not only that, it's noisy. And guess what? Game will hear that, folks. The other issue about Velcro, this is fine for Target and stuff like that. It's very hard to find, put it on your wrist the same way twice. You should mark it with a Sharpie or something like that. The trigger mechanism is exactly the same as the other one. In fact, this component is exactly the same component. Right? Except this is far better for hunting because of the buckle. So I would recommend not using these. This is a good release. Don't get me wrong. It's not junk. It's True Ball makes these guys. They make fantastic releases. But this is, in my opinion, for hunting, it's not that great because of the noise problem and the fact that you can't, and just in general, you can't necessarily get it on your wrist the same way twice, and you alter your anchor point. This is an offering from Scott Archery. Scott makes fantastic products. This is another kind of release that I really like. I like the flexibility of the paracord in here. It's really, really good. The release mechanism is a little bit different. You pull it back, it stays open. You put it on your bowstring, you have to push it shut. This is really a hair trigger, so you got to be careful when you're using it. I'm barely touching that. When it's under tension, same thing. So you got to stay away from this bad boy. This is a great release. I forget the name of it. One of the things I like over the True Balls is this piece right here that ties the release to the wrist strap is metal. These are plastic. Although they're plastic, I've never had a problem with them breaking. And these things have been through hell. This one is probably 10 years old. I've killed probably, I don't know, 40 deer using this thing, and yeah, 10, no, like 30 deer or so using this thing, and you know, hasn't broken yet, slammed around, frozen solid, you know, climbing up and down tree stands, blah blah blah. So those are your options for strap-ons. Lots of guys like those for hunting. Now let's get into some of the really fine art stuff. This is a True Ball Little Boss. Now what the hell is this thing? Well, this is usually used for target. I'm starting to use something similar to this for hunting. And the way this works is the jaws are open. You have to push this button here, this lever, put it onto your string like so. Then you come back and you start your draw cycle, right? And your head's here, right? Comes up against the side of your head. When you continue through your draw cycle, what will happen is your hand will naturally rotate, and by pressing on, when it rotates, your thumb will press on what people refer to as the trigger or the release mechanism, and you'll keep drawing, and off it goes. Remember, the shot, just like for firearms, should be a surprise to you. So this is a combination of sort of a trigger and a back tension release. So what's a back tension release? Well, you can see, by the way, this is, talk about a hair trigger. You can't even see that thing move. It sets it off, okay? Back tension, this is the big boy of releases. This is a Scott release. I think it's a Scott Longhorn. It's solid brass. It's beautifully machined. You can see it. It's a little thumb stud. You hold that in your hand like so, okay? Like so. What this does, it's a sear. You can see there's a sear mechanism in here, half moon, right? And you have a little piece of metal inside here that you can't really see that sits along that half moon, and it acts as a sear. And what happens is when you're drawing back, keep your fingers, as long as the release is in this position, as long as the release is in this position like so, okay, it'll stay on your string. Now when you come to full draw and you're at the end of your draw cycle, you remove your thumb, continue to push with your forward arm, pull with your back arm, and by the way, use your back muscles, not your arms. What will happen is this thing will rotate naturally, and boom, it'll release from the sear and the string will move forward. These are highly accurate because you can't really flinch with these guys. And there's no trigger panic because the shot goes off as a surprise. I highly recommend it. But this is not for the faint of heart. You need to know what you're doing with these, otherwise you'll release your string prematurely and your fist will come back and punch you in the side of the face. For some guys that could actually be a useful exercise, but for the most part you don't want to get hurt. So this is a Scott Longhorn, really, really nice. There's other models. Stanislav makes a really nice release. So I think Scott, True Ball, and Stanislav. Carter makes another good release, are really good. So I wanted to give you an overview of pros and cons of each, the subtleties and the differences. If you're going to go for hunting, something like this will work with the buckle. If you're into target archery, eventually you can start off with the hunting kind of release, but you're going to go for something like this at some point, either one. Alright, hunting season's around the corner. Archery's fun. Get out there, enjoy the woods, and hunt successfully, hunt safely, hunt ethically.